Every single year, casinos hand out billions of dollars in jackpots, comps, and payouts. They let people walk out with stuffed pockets and life-changing wins. And yet, the casino industry in the United States pulled in over $53 billion in revenue in 2022 alone, according to the American Gaming Association. That's a 13% jump from the year before. How does a business that literally gives away money end up being one of the most profitable operations on the planet? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the system works, how every detail is designed to keep profits flowing, and why even the biggest winners can't change the math. The story starts in 1931, when Nevada became the first state to legalize gambling. Las Vegas grew from a dusty desert town into the entertainment capital of the world. Then, in 1976, New Jersey legalized casino gaming in Atlantic City, opening the door for gambling east of the Mississippi. The Indian Gaming Regulatory Act of 1988 fueled a massive expansion of Native American casinos throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Today, there are over 1,000 commercial casinos across the United States. 33 states and the District of Columbia have legalized sports betting since the 2018 Supreme Court ruling. And in 2022, casinos contributed over $11.7 billion in taxes to state and local governments. This is an enormous machine, and it runs on a single principle that most people misunderstand. That principle is the house edge. Every game in a casino is built with a small mathematical advantage baked into the rules. It's not cheating. It's not rigged in some backroom conspiracy. It's pure math. In American roulette, the house edge is 5.26%. That means for every $100 wagered over time, the casino expects to keep about $5.26. Blackjack, if you play with perfect strategy, has one of the lowest house edges at around 0.5%. Slot machines vary wildly, with a house edge that can range from 2% to over 15% depending on the machine and the casino. The key here is that every single game, no matter how fun, no matter how flashy, is tilted slightly in the casino's favor. Now, here's what most people get wrong. They think the house edge means they'll lose every time they sit down. That's not true. On any given night, a player can absolutely win. People hit jackpots. People go on hot streaks. But the house edge doesn't operate on a single session. It operates over millions of bets placed by thousands of players across weeks, months, and years. The casino doesn't need you to lose. They need the math to hold up across the entire population of gamblers walking through their doors. And it always does. Think about it this way. On average, players lose about 25 to 30% of their gambling budget in a casino environment, according to multiple studies in gambling behavior. Not every player loses that much. Some win big. Some lose everything. But when you zoom out and look at the averages across all players, the casino keeps a consistent share. That's the beauty of the system from the casino's perspective. Individual outcomes are random. The aggregate outcome is predictable. But the house edge alone doesn't explain everything. Casinos don't just rely on math. They engineer the entire experience around keeping you playing longer, betting more, and coming back again and again. Walk into any major casino, and you'll notice there are no clocks on the walls. No windows to the outside. The lighting stays the same whether it's 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning. The carpet patterns are deliberately busy and slightly disorienting, designed to keep your eyes moving upward toward the machines and tables. Sound plays a role too. Slot machines produce celebratory jingles and flashing lights, even for payouts that are smaller than the original bet. You just lost money, but the machine is congratulating you. Your brain registers it as a win. Casinos also offer complimentary drinks to players at the tables and machines. This isn't generosity. Alcohol lowers inhibition and impairs judgment, which leads to larger bets and longer play sessions. The layout of the casino itself is a maze by design. The path to the exit, the restaurant or the bathroom takes you past rows of slot machines and table games. Every step is an opportunity for the casino to recapture your attention. Then there are the comp programs, and this is where things get psychologically clever. Major operators like MGM Resorts International and Caesars Entertainment invest heavily in player loyalty systems. You sign up for a rewards card, and every dollar you wager earns you points. Those points can be redeemed for free meals, hotel rooms, show tickets, or even free play credits. On the surface, it feels like you're being rewarded. It feels like the casino is giving something back. But the math behind these programs tells a different story. The value of the comps you receive is almost always a tiny fraction of the amount you've lost. A player might lose $2,000 over a weekend and receive a complimentary buffet worth $40. The comp creates a false sense of winning. It gives the player a reason to feel good about the experience and, more importantly, a reason to come back. This brings us to the psychology of gambling itself, and specifically why people keep playing even when they're losing. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates that approximately 1 to 2% of the adult population in the United States has a gambling problem. That might sound like a small number, but across a population of over 250 million adults, we're talking about millions of people. Former Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval once described gambling as a very dangerous drug, highlighting its addictive nature. The science behind this is tied to how the brain processes uncertainty and reward. Every time a gambler places a bet, the brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with pleasure and motivation. What makes gambling particularly powerful is that the dopamine spike happens not just when you win, but in anticipation of possibly winning. Near misses, where the slot reel stops one symbol away from a jackpot, trigger nearly the same neurological response as actual wins. The brain interprets a near miss as evidence that you're close, that the next spin could be the one. This keeps players engaged far longer than rational decision-making would allow. Slot machines deserve special attention because they generate the largest share of casino revenue. These machines are programmed with random number generators that determine outcomes. The return to player percentage is set by the casino within regulatory guidelines. A machine with a 92% return to player rate has an 8% house edge, meaning for every $100 fed into it over thousands of spins, the machine keeps $8 on average. But because the outcomes are randomized, short-term results can swing wildly. A player might win $500 in 20 minutes or lose $300 in the same time. That volatility is what makes slots exciting and what masks the long-term math. Table games like blackjack, craps, and baccarat offer better odds for the player, but the casino still wins over time. Blackjack is interesting because skilled players using basic strategy can reduce the house edge to around 0.5%. Card counting, while not illegal, can tip the odds in the player's favor, which is exactly why casinos monitor for it aggressively and reserve the right to ask card counters to leave. The fact that casinos view skilled play as a threat tells you everything about how the system is designed. They want the math to stay in their favor, and they actively protect it. There's a common belief that casinos want you to lose as fast as possible. That's actually not quite right. Casinos want you to play as long as possible. A player who loses their entire bankroll in 30 minutes walks away and doesn't come back for weeks. A player who slowly loses over several hours while enjoying drinks, entertainment, and occasional small wins has a great experience. That player comes back next weekend. The casino's real product isn't gambling. It's the experience of gambling. And like any well-designed product, every element is optimized to keep the customer engaged and spending. Even the 2020 pandemic, which forced extended casino closures and devastated the industry temporarily, couldn't keep the system down. By 2022, the industry didn't just recover, it hit record revenue of $53 billion. The model is resilient because it doesn't depend on any single player, any single game, or any single night. It depends on volume and mathematics. States continue to expand legal gambling options, with online casinos and sports betting creating new revenue streams across the country as of 2023. The American Gaming Association reports these expansions are accelerating, bringing casino-style math into people's phones and living rooms. The House Edge doesn't care whether you're sitting at a felt table in Las Vegas or tapping a screen in New Jersey. Here's the takeaway that should stay with you. Casinos don't need to predict who will win and who will lose. They don't need to cheat. They don't need luck. They built a system where every game, every machine, every free drink, every loyalty point, and every flashing light works together to produce one outcome. The house wins. Not every hand, not every spin, but always, always over time. The old saying gets it exactly right. The house always wins. Not because it's lucky, but because it was designed that way from the very first bet.